When you see the number 2025, I'm imagining there are a lot of things associated with it. Probably a lot of hopes and dreams, maybe some fears as well. Maybe there's an event that you're really excited for, like a wedding, a vacation, graduating. Maybe 2025 just means a fresh start for you. An end to 2024, which maybe held certain losses or resentments for you. Maybe 2025 is a clean slate, a chance to start afresh. Or maybe you're like me and you have dozens of things that you want to accomplish in the next year. Either way, I want to help you make 2025 the best year yet, where you can be as aligned to your highest self as possible, and to give you the evidence-based tools to make that happen as effortlessly as possible. So today, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be sharing 5 evidence-based tips with you for how to make your dreams come true in 2025. So here is tip number 1. Your goal should be clear. According to Locke and Latham's goal setting theory, there are 5 key principles for setting and achieving successful goals, and the very first one is clarity. Your goals need to be clear. So if you're not yet sure exactly what you want out of 2025, let me just show you how I break down my own resolutions. So I break it down into 4 categories: career, self-improvement, leisure, and health. So in terms of career, how much money do you want to make in 2025? Do you have any upward mobility goals at your job, like getting a raise, getting a promotion, securing a different or better job? Or maybe you're in school, maybe you have a GPA you're trying to hit, maybe you have certain metrics, maybe you're trying to graduate. How much money do you want to save up this year? Whether it's for future property, for retirement, for future kids' education, for emergencies, for travel. Get really specific. Don't just say, I want to save money. Say, I want to save this much money for this specific purpose. Then in terms of self-improvement, how many books do you want to read this year? What aspects of your personality need a little bit of tweaking? Do you want to learn a new language or skill, or maybe practice one that you've already started learning? Do you want to change or improve any aspects of your appearance? Then in terms of leisure, where and when do you want to travel this year? What friends and family do you want to see? What special events are you looking forward to? Then in terms of health, what are your fitness goals? Do you want your diet to look any different? Do you want your exercise routine to look any different? What about your sleep schedule, your social media hygiene? Are there any health-related habits that you want to change, like maybe going off a specific medication that you don't enjoy very much? Now, look, I've never had an issue meeting my New Year's resolutions, even when I have like 20 to 30 goals at a time. A lot of them aren't goals per se, but rather just things I hope to accomplish or experience in the next year, like travel. And I feel good about it, even if I meet like 75% of them, because like I said, it's a lot of goals. It's really ambitious. But ideally, the research says you want to focus on a smaller amount of the most important goals. So for now, just look through your list of all these different categories and try to identify the number 1 most important resolutions that you have for 2025, or at the most 3 to 5. So for me, for example, I would like to save up enough money to put a down deposit on a home by the end of 2025. That's my biggest goal. And then to use that money to move into my forever home, which is in another country. So then break it down into smaller tasks, especially with a really daunting resolution like that. It's not enough to just say, this is this huge thing that I want. You have to actually break it down into steps. What is every step that you need to take that brings you closer to that goal? So for example, over this past weekend, my husband and I sat down and we started making a list of every single logistical thing that we need for the move and creating a specific timeline for it. So we wrote things like talk to an immigration attorney by X date, talk to a tax attorney by Y date, find a house broker by Z date. I've also been thinking about how much money do we need to save up in order to afford this? How much money does that mean I need to be setting aside every month? How will we be finding this home? Will we be traveling there to see it? What specifics do we want in a home? So right now, identify your number 1 biggest resolution for the year 2025. And while you're at it, pop it down in the comments below. Because a meta-analysis from 2017 of tens of thousands of participants across 41 studies found that goal setting is particularly effective if the goal you set is declared publicly. But moving on to tip number 2, your goal should be at the forefront of your mind every single day. You need to understand exactly why you want this goal and to keep that desire in your mind every day. A couple months ago, I launched the Goal Getter course, where I condensed basically everything that I know about goal setting and motivation into over 2 hours worth of lessons. And in part 1, I walk my students through exactly this, identifying the intrinsic goals, the goals that come from within, not from external pressures, and the values that their goal is tapping into, so that it's not just about the goal itself, but you're actually crystal clear on why you want this so bad and why it's so important to you. For example, why do I want a forever home? I want to create a cozy, comfortable environment for myself and my family. I'm tired as hell of moving every 1 to 2 years. Our future children need a stable place to call home so that we don't need to hemorrhage money on rent anymore, and one day for resale value. And even once you know the why of your goal, you need to keep it in your mind every single day. Let's say that your goal is to eat healthier. Who do you think is more likely to achieve their goal? Person 1 says, I want to eat healthier at the beginning of the year, and maybe they actually eat a little bit healthier for the first week or 2, but then they forget all about their resolution. Person 2, on the other hand, starts each day by setting the intention to eat healthy. They consider their goal every time they head into the kitchen. Person 2 is more likely to stay in touch with their resolution, of course. What I've noticed is that setting those intentions for myself and reminding myself of my values every day really helps keep me accountable. So I still use A Season of Life, my everyday journaling practice, every single day. And so every single day, it forces me to focus on what are 3 values that I really want to emphasize that day. And I've really noticed that on the days where I set the intention to live in alignment with a certain value, I'm much more likely to follow through with it because it's the primacy effect. It's at the forefront of my mind. So if I, at the beginning of the day, say, I really want to make sure I treat everyone kindly today, I'm much more likely to really make an effort to be kind. Tip number 3, use if-then statements to anticipate and prevent obstacles. Before I set my next year's resolutions, I always review last year's resolutions. Which ones did I achieve? Which ones did I not? And of the latter, what obstacles came up that prevented me from achieving them? And how can I circumvent those if similar obstacles come up in the next year? For example, the 2 main reasons why I didn't achieve all of my goals this year were, number 1, some of my life goals changed. A year ago, I still thought that I was going to be in the US for a bit longer than I ended up staying there. I still thought that I wanted to get licensed as a psychologist and to have my own practice. And very quickly, like within the first month of 2024, I realized that that's actually not what I want anymore. The second reason why I didn't achieve all my goals is that some of my goals were just way too ambitious. And in general, it's better to have 2 ambitious goals rather than 2 lax goals, because studies show that people who set more challenging goals tend to actually achieve more than people who set less challenging goals. But at the same time, if you consistently set goals that are unrealistic for you, it can kind of take a toll on your self-esteem because it can kind of feel like you're always trying to outpace your goals and it never happens. Even if when you really look at it, maybe you're accomplishing a lot. You just don't realize it because your goals were way too ambitious. So for my 2025 goals, I kept that in mind. I said, okay, I'm going to set slightly less ambitious goals, slightly more realistic. As for the first one, the fact that my priorities changed and what I want in life changed, there's nothing I can do about that to prevent that from coming up next year, and there's nothing I want to do about that. There's nothing wrong with changing what you want throughout the year. So even independently of last year's resolutions, what do you anticipate will come up as an obstacle? And frame them in terms of if this, then that. For example, if I start slacking with my at-home workouts, then I'm going to sign up for an in-person gym class. Or if I get anxious while at a social setting, and I feel the urge to have more drinks than I need, then I'm going to start alternating between an alcoholic drink and a bottle of water. Tip number 4, make it a group effort. Remember that meta-analysis I mentioned earlier? They also found that goal setting worked best when it was a group goal. For example, my goal of saving up enough money to have a down deposit needs to be a shared goal with my husband. It's not an individual goal. It's not something I need to take on my own. Now, this might not always be the case for you, depending on what your resolution is, but there are always some ways to make your goals more of a group effort. Remember when I mentioned that we'd be consulting with a lot of experts on the move? Offsetting some of that responsibility onto other people so that we can focus on the bulk of saving money and not spending that time and energy worrying about whether we're missing something is part of that. It's part of sharing the responsibility with other people, making it a group effort. Other ways that you can make your goal a group effort include getting an accountability buddy that you check in with once a week, regularly eliciting feedback from people, and asking for advice from people who have more experience than you in whatever you're hoping to accomplish. And number 5, make it as easy as possible to fulfill your goal. The people who look the most motivated don't just have this sheer willpower to do incredibly difficult things that they don't want to do. In most cases, they seem more motivated because they've taken the steps necessary to actually make it as easy as possible to take action. They're not working harder, they're actually finding it easier. If I set up my recording equipment the night before I record, and I put out my recording outfit and everything, That makes it really easy for me to just start the day and get straight into work so that I can make more money and then save more money for a house. Or if you're trying to eat more fruits and vegetables, if you meal prep the Sunday before the week starts, then it's going to be so much easier to eat healthy throughout the week than if you hadn't taken that time to make it effortless. In the Goal Getter course, I go a lot more in depth on this, on how to actually make it as easy and also as pleasurable as possible to take action towards your goals. And if you watch all the lessons and you do all 33 of the action steps, you will be closer to meeting your goal. I can't guarantee that you're going to meet your goal because that in large part depends on you, but I've put everything that I know about this in one place and tried to make it as user-friendly as possible with the intention of making it as easy for you as possible. All you need to do is show up and participate. So in summary, here are 5 tips to transform into your highest self and accomplish everything that you want out of 2025. Number 1, identify a clear goal and break it down into sub-goals if it's too complex. Number 2, get in touch with why you want this and keep that at the forefront of your mind every single day. Number 3, anticipate obstacles and how you plan to work around them. Number 4, make it a group effort and get all the support you can. And number 5, make it as easy as possible to fulfill your goal. I'm wishing all of you a very happy new year, a prosperous 2025. I hope that you accomplish everything that you set out to do. And I also look forward to reading some of your resolutions in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you soon.